from Miller Park, and it is interleague baseball tonight in Milwaukee. The Texas Rangers are in town. The Brewers and the Rangers start a two-game series tonight. Texas coming off a loss last night against the Chicago Cubs. They had a one-game stop at Wrigley Field, and now the Brewers trying to get a five-game losing streak over with. Willie Peralta will get the ball for the Brew Crew tonight. Justin Grimm on the mound for the Rangers. Great to have you with us this evening. It's a beautiful night for baseball. Alongside Bill Schroeder, I'm Brian Anderson. And the Brewers, having lost 5 in a row, now trying to stop this losing streak. Very rough series against the St. Louis Cardinals with 2 games remaining on this homestand. And Rock, it's an old adage, pitching, that's what's going to take you anywhere in this game. And the Brewers have been either really good on the mound or really bad.
Yeah, when you think about the nice 9-game winning streak, there was a stretch where the Brewers were 12-3. Now that was 3 very good runs through the 5-man rotation, and you can see the numbers. A 271 earned run average, 11 of 15 were quality starts. So sometimes your pitching is going to carry you, just like they did in that long winning streak. But there's sometimes where the pitching is just not going to be able to get it done, and that's what's basically been happening on this homestand. 0-5, the big earned run average, only 1 quality start. Sometimes the pitching carries you. Sometimes the offense has to pick up the pitching. That quite has not happened in this homestand.
Well, they enjoyed a day off yesterday, hoping to recorrect with 2 games to play on the homestand. We'll talk a little hitting when we come back. Craig, and Davey are standing by to talk Gomez and Braun right after this.
Your home improvement needs at Menards. By Miller Lite, it's not just a good time, it's Miller time. By Toyota, let's go places. And by AT&T Uverse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PICK-ATT. Rethink possible. Is there a Craig Counsell jersey down there in that fan store? There might be. Back at Miller Park, Rangers and Brewers tonight, interleague play, and Craig Counsell, the former Brewer and special assistant to the general manager, Doug Melvin, now joins us, and special guest with Davey and I on Brewers Live pregame. And let's talk about some big hitters right now. Tough pitching the Brewers have seen, but it has not bothered Davey. Guys like Ryan Braun and Carlos Gomez, who leads the league in hitting right now.
Well, especially, you talk about Ryan Braun. I mean, this guy's a proven commodity. This guy can just flat out hit. Got off to a little shaky start, but had a little injury here and there. But this guy, like I say, is proven. He knows how to hit. And, Carlos Gomez, my goodness, what a difference from 2011 to now, where he's matured. He has much better at bats. As Craig Counsell mentioned, his quality at bats is so much better, and that's what's allowed him to do what he's doing right now.
Well, Craig, we just saw the top team in baseball as far as pitching go in the Cardinals. The second best, the Texas Rangers, are in right now. We're going to need to see those heavy bats do some damage.
It's a big challenge for the Brewer hitters again. Like you said, the Cardinals just left, best ERA. Another team with a good ERA and an excellent bullpen. Joe Nathan holding down the closer spot. Hasn't blown a save yet, and that's going to lead to a lot of wins. So this is a tough pitching staff all around.
All right, Brewers and Rangers getting closer to first pitch. We'll have it for you when we come back on the other side here on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
Ball in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Decked out in their navy tops behind their hard-throwing right-hander Willie Peralta. It's the Brewers and the Rangers. Brian Anderson with Bill Schroeder, and Telly Hughes making his debut for 2013 on Brewers TV. 68 degrees, hardly a cloud in the sky, and it's set up for a great evening of Brewers baseball tonight. We're glad you're with us. First trip through the American League for Milwaukee. Ron Washington's Texas Rangers are in town for 2. And for the 3rd consecutive series, the Brewers are facing a first-place team. It was the Pirates, then the Cardinals, and now the Rangers. Piggly Wiggly batting order for Washington has Kensler, Elvis Andrews, Adrian Beltre at the top. In the middle, it's Nelson Cruz, Mitch Moreland, and Giovanni Soto, with David Murphy, Leonis Martin, and Justin Grimm rounding it out. The starting 9 for Texas, that will match up against Willie Peralta.
Well, Willie Peralta lost his last time out, 4 1/3 against the Cardinals. Numbers didn't look all that good, but gave up 11 hits, all of them singles, 6 earned runs. That snapped a 2-game winning streak for Willie. 2-2 overall with a 6.00 earned run average. And to take a look at the Menards defense behind Willie tonight. Aramis Ramirez gets his second consecutive start for Milwaukee after an off day yesterday. And Gene Segura continues to play flawless defense. 1 error in 29 games.
Now this will be the third series for the Brewers and the Rangers in interleague play all time. All have come since the 2007 season. And they last met here at Miller Park back in the 2010 season. Laz Diaz will call the balls and strikes. Tim Timmons, Mike Winters, and Mark Wegner on the bases. There is the crew chief, Mike Winters. And we are just about set for baseball tonight. Ian Kinsler, Elvis Andrews, and Adrian Beltre to start it for the Texas Rangers. Rangers played last night in a makeup game in Chicago. Much cooler temperatures than we have for them tonight. 90 minutes north. Roof is wide open. And it's starting to feel more and more like summer again. Willie Peralta ready to go. His first offering to Kinsler is in there for a strike. And off we go tonight on a Tuesday night at Miller Park. Brewers will play tonight and tomorrow night, take Thursday off, and then they start a tough road trip, 10 in a row. There's a liner out to center field. Gomez is there for the out. Kinsler hit it like a bullet, but right at Carlos Gomez.
It's a pretty good offense for these Texas Rangers, and Kinsler a big part of it. He's been on base a lot in the early going this year.
Well, you look at these clubs statistically and offensively, they match up pretty well in their respective leagues. The Brewers and the Rangers. I think the Brewers, like the Rangers, count on the home run ball, and they consider themselves a good offensive team. But where the pitching is involved is the difference between these two right now. The Rangers come to town with the best earned run average in the American League. And that's saying something, because this is a group that plays in a hitter-friendly ballpark in Arlington, where the ball really travels well. Elvis Andrews on a bouncer out to Ricky Weeks, and there is out number 2.
When you look at these two teams offensively, the Texas Rangers have scored only 4 more runs than have the Brewers. 139 runs for Texas, 135 for Milwaukee. And as you mentioned, both of them stack up pretty well with the bats, but the big difference obviously is the pitching. The Texas Rangers currently lead the American League in earned run average.
Now the Rangers with an ERA, a team ERA of 3.19, and as Craig Counsell mentioned in our Brewers Live pregame show, that the Rangers have not blown a save this season. They have Joe Nathan closing their games, and they've gotten a big jolt from 2 young starting pitchers, and we'll see one of them tonight in Justin Grimm. Adrian Beltre with 2 away. There's Yu Darvish. Unfortunately, not his turn in the rotation here in this 2-game series. I know there were a lot of fans looking forward to the potential to see Yu Darvish pitch in Milwaukee. Slow roller. Ricky Weeks will make the play, and that is a good start for Willie Peralta. 3 up, 3 down. The Brewers coming up against Justin Grimm. Will continue to hit in a National League ballpark, so it won't feel much different for the Brewers skipper now in his 3rd season. And Renick's batting order today starting to get settled a little bit with Aramis Ramirez available once again. The Piggly Wiggly batting order: Aoki, Segura, and Braun. Ramirez back in the cleanup spot with Weeks and Gomez, and the bottom 3: Betancourt, Maldonado, and Peralta. And that's a lineup that will face Justin Grimm, who is coming off the Rookie of the Month in the American League in April.
Yeah, he was 2-0 with a 1.59 ERA. He took a loss against the White Sox his last time out, but threw well. A big kid, as you mentioned, 6'3", 195 pounds. He went to the University of Georgia.
Now one of 2 rookies in the Rangers starting rotation. We talked about how good their pitching staff has been. And the Rangers overall ERA at 3.19. Well, their starters are currently 4th in the American League with an ERA of 3.32. So the Pirates, the Cardinals, and the Rangers all among the upper echelon in earned run average. Here's Andrews, long throw, and Aoki beats it out, an infield hit. That is a category the Brewers lead the National League. And Aoki adds one more to it.
Just trying to lay the bat on the baseball. He did that. And even Elvis Andrus, who's a very good defender over there at shortstop, not able to get enough on the throw to get Aoki at first base. A little bit high. I don't think it would have mattered. And just talking about laying the bat on the baseball and running as he hits the ball, and he beats it.
So Aoki is aboard. He's among league leaders in times on base this year in the National League. Currently third in the National League in that category. And Segura rifles one back up the middle. A base hit. So a fast start for the Brew Crew tonight. An infield hit followed by a ringing single to center field, and 2 men are on for Ryan Braun.
Yeah, the Brewers played from behind just about that entire Cardinal series. You can't do that against this club. Another first place ball club in Miller Park, so it'd be nice to give Willie Peralta a lead early tonight.
Well, Ryan Braun has some very good numbers in his career in interleague baseball. As a matter of fact, he is sitting on a 28-game hitting streak in interleague play. And during that 28-game hitting streak, he's hitting .391 with 7 homers, 30 runs driven in. He seems to be at his best against the opposite league. Brewers would love to see that on display in a World Series one day. First pitch breaking ball to Braun. And Braun comes in with a .297 average. He has 7 homers, 23 driven in, and has by far and away the longest hit streak against American League teams at 28 and running. Quickly 0-2 on Braun.
And not overpowering is Grimm, but he's got a very good overhand curveball. You saw that pitch to Ryan the pitch before. And he throws that for strikes, making his 92 to 94 fastball very effective.
First time for any of the Brewers to face Grimm. Just getting his big league career started as that one's hit hard into right field. Backing up his Cruz. Still going back, and he cannot make the play. Aoki had to hold up at second, and now he's coming home, and he will score. Aoki runs through the stop sign of Ed Cedar.
Boy, I'm not sure what Ian Kinzer was doing out there in second base. I mean, in short right field, because he had the ball. He could have had 2 different outs. He could have got Braun at first, and he certainly could have gotten Aoki at home plate, just held on to it. Well, how about that swing by Ryan Braun? Nice and easy over the head of the former Brewer Nelson Cruz, and Aoki for some reason tagging up with a ball that didn't look like anything but routine. He just keeps going. Ed Cedar telling him to hold up. Ed Cedar says stop. Yeah, go. Good job. But Ian Kinsler could have had 2 different outs there. He could have had Braun. He could have had Aoki. Watch Ryan. Ryan going halfway. He's got the ball now. He could have gotten to first base, and he could have gotten Aoki at home.
It all comes up roses for the Brewers, and Aoki running through the stop sign. Braun's hit streak extends to 29 games against American League opponents, and he puts the Brewers on the board 1-0.
And you saw the reaction of Ryan pointing at Segura saying, what are you doing? Well, he couldn't go to second because Aoki didn't take off to third base.
Well, here is Aramis Ramirez. 3 hits to start the game offensively for the Brewers. I tell you what, Rock, you look at that play in right field. You had instant visions of the World Series a couple of years ago when the Rangers were a strike away, an out away from winning the World Series in St. Louis, and Cruz misplayed a ball very similar to that.
Off the bat of David Freese. Yep.
And the Cardinals would come back to tie it and then win on a Freese home run and eventually win the World Series. I'm sure Rangers fans don't want to remember that. Cruz plays fairly shallow in right field. He has a very good throwing arm, but that one ate him up a little bit.
But a nice approach by Ryan Braun. Nice easy swing. That ball just jumped off his bat. And the Brewers in business. Should be second and third, but it's not.
2 on, nobody out, and Ramirez a little half swing foul. Now, what have you seen from Ramirez, Rock? It's not an easy thing to miss a month and then come back like he did. He was out with a left knee injury. His first game back, he had a couple of hits against the Cardinals.
Yeah, on Sunday, 0 for 3, had a strikeout, but it's going to take him a while. You know, Ron Renneke taking him out of both of the games that he started. Of course, the 10-1 loss.
They'll pop up into foul territory, and Moreland will make the catch. Segura makes him throw the baseball, but stays put. First out for young Justin Grimm.
Yeah, let's check out the Menards defense behind Justin Grimm. A very good defense at that. 4th in the American League with only 13 errors. Highlighted by Elvis Andrus, who in 31 games before tonight had not committed an error. So he has been solid defensively. The Menards Rangers defense for tonight.
And there's one of the best shortstops in the game in Elvis Andrus. 2 on, 1 away, and it'll be Ricky Weeks now. A run is in on a Braun double. 3 straight hits to start the game, and now Segura is picked off, but the throw goes to the shortstop while the second baseman was covering the bag. And the Brewers catch another break on the base pass.
Yeah, just trying to get too big of a jump, the inside move, and I'm not sure why he threw the shortstop, but he did. Kinsler was there. Andrus was not, and Andrus surprised as anybody to get the baseball.
Kinsler saying, how come I can't play here? There's a familiar face, former Brewer pitching coach Mike Maddox. And he's done a great job with this pitching staff that is fronted by Yu Darvish and the 2 rookie pitchers. Justin Grimm, who is on the mound tonight. Nick Tepesch, who pitched last night. Tomorrow the Brewers are going to see left-hander Derek Holland. He's one of the best in the business, Mike Maddox. And had a chance to talk to him before the game. And first thing out of his mouth was, I forgot how great this ballpark is. He loved it here. And certainly enjoyed reconnecting with some folks here at Miller Park before the game.
Well, he's done a nice job resurrecting a pitching staff that historically for the Rangers has struggled. They've always been a very good offensive ball club, but always gave up a lot of runs, but that has certainly changed.
No balls and a strike on Ricky Weeks. And that one is hit down the left field line. On the run, Murphy, and he's got it for the out. Off the end of the bat for Weeks, and it ends up as out number 2.
Well, Graham has that good curveball. He's used it quite a bit. There's a curveball right there to Ricky Weeks that he got out on the end of the bat. You can see the rotation going straight down. Ricky off the end of the bat and easy out to left field. So already the rookie showing that he's got a lot of confidence in his curveball.
Well, so 2 men are gone with a run in. And here is Carlos Gomez, who is sitting on a 12-game hitting streak, which ties a career high. He hit in 12 in a row as a member of the Minnesota Twins back in '08. And he's doing things this year that he has never done throughout his career. And we saw signs of it last year in the second half. But Gomez is in another stratosphere offensively right now.
And using the whole field and hitting home runs. He's got 6 of them. On base percentage over 400. And for me, the biggest stat for Gomez is that on base percentage because of his great speed. Any way he gets on, you can get him into scoring position. The last 20 games have been incredible, hitting almost 500.
Has an OPS over 1,000 right now. You combine on base percentage and slugging percentage, and that is among the elite in the game. I mean, pull out the best hitters in the game you can think of, guys like Cabrera, you know, and he's right there. Ryan Braun, of course. Gomez is the National League leader in batting average coming in with a .368 average. He and Gene Segura are 1 and 4 in the league respectively. Couple of runners on for Carlos Gomez. 2 on with 2 out, and that one into left field. Murphy got a late start. That's going to fall, and it gets between them. In to score Segura. Braun right behind him. And he will score, and 2 are in on the Gomez hit. And it's 3-0 Milwaukee in the first inning.
I tell you, for a team that plays good defense, there hasn't been an error posted on the board, but Texas Rangers have not supported Justin Grimm very well in this first inning. And first of all, that should have been an out. A very bad break on that baseball by David Murphy. Then not sure how that ball got to the warning track, but it did. That allowed Ryan Braun to score all the way from first base. Ian Kinsler should have had an out early on in this inning.
Well, for Gomez, that is a base hit, and he extends a hitting streak to 13 in a row, which is a career high. Now it's Uni Betancourt with a runner at second. Gomez. And that one misses outside to Uni B. Well, what a start for the Brewers. They needed this kind of start. It has been rough sledding around here the last 5 days.
And Brewers have been playing from behind, almost every night. Not tonight. And it looked as though Murphy just didn't see that baseball. The sun right now kind of beaming into those glass panels above the stands along the first baseline. Maybe just didn't see it. That should have been an out.
And outfielders would tell you they play the ball in the air as much with their ears as they do their eyes. And that first instinct at the sound of the bat. And Gomez took a big swing. And it didn't sound like it was off the end of the bat, but it was. And totally fooled out there in left field.
You see him just standing there as if he didn't see it. And by that time, I don't know how that ball gets all the way to the warning track, but it does, and Ryan Braun able to score.
Panels are open tonight. Roof is open. Ball certainly going to travel tonight. Two balls and a strike on Betancourt, who comes in with a .268 batting average. 22 runs batted in. He's now 2 behind Braun after Ryan's RBI a moment ago. And the 2-1 is in the air, left center field. That ball's got some carry. Back is Martin. That ball is up and out. Uni B with a 2-run homer. And the Brewers erupting on the Rangers in the first inning. It is now 5-0. And Mike Maddox beats Uni Betancourt out to the mound before he even scores on the home run.
Yep, just trying to settle his young pitcher down. And there's a changeup from Justin Grimm, one of the first that he's thrown in this inning. Betancourt goes down. He keeps the hands back and able to get enough of it. They give the Brewers a 5 spot in the first. And the most runs that Grimm had allowed in his start so far this year has been 3. He's given up 5 in the first. And the most hits he's given up in the game is 6. And he's already given up 5.
In 2/3 of an inning. Here's Maldonado now, and that one is a little bit low. So the updated Powerball home run leaderboard. Place your bets. Who saw this coming? Uni B, as we hit the 7th of May, is the Brewers leader in home runs with 8.
You got to love it when you make a start and you're on the on-deck circle in the first inning. Willie Peralta getting ready to hit. That's always good news.
Base is clean for Martin Maldonado. And that one is lined foul. Now the Rangers are in the middle of a very long road trip, a 9-game, 10-day road trip over 4 cities, as a matter of fact. They had a makeup game yesterday in Chicago, 2 here in Milwaukee, and then they go to Houston and Oakland. Since Houston and Oakland are just right next to each other, it just makes sense on the travel schedule.
Makes all the sense in the world, you bet.
As Maldonado pops this one foul and out of play. Now the Rangers lost a game earlier this year in Chicago due to rain. That was back on the 17th of April, so they had to play it yesterday after they had a walk-off win on Sunday. Rangers defeating the Red Sox in walk-off fashion. It was a 9-2 loss yesterday at the hands of the Cubs, and the Brewers already with 5 on the board with 2 outs in this first inning.
Man, the Brewers hitting every one of the pitches from Grimm, the fastball, the curveball, and now the changeup for Betancourt. He hit the home run on the changeup.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Maldonado, and they'll ask if he went. No, he didn't. Able to check his swing, says Tim Timmons. And the count goes full, and the pitch count continues to rise for Grimm. That's now 27 pitches so far for the young right-hander. Pitch number 28 is swung on and missed, and the inning ends. But the Brewers bring 8 to the plate, score 5 runs on 5 hits. RBIs from Braun, Carlos Gomez with a pair, and Uni B goes deep once again.
The game winner, Watertown Bowl North. I would imagine that's in Watertown. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to the Brewers home game this year. It's offered courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Was that a golf course, you think, or
golf course? Maybe a bowling alley in the.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. In Watertown.
Yeah.
Well, good to have you watching tonight. Watertown Bowl. Well, Willie Peralta staked to a 5-run lead before he pitches in his second inning. He retired the Rangers in order in the first inning. Brewers bring 8 men to the plate. Betancourt and Braun now lead the club together in runs batted in, each with 24 apiece. And we'll see how Peralta deals with this heavy hitting Rangers lineup the rest of the way. Strike 1 to Nelson Cruz. Cruz, a former Brewer farmhand, and had a little time with the Brewers, part of that Francisco Cordero trade. I was talking to John Daniels, the general manager of the Rangers, before the game. He was reliving that trade and the back and forth between he and Doug Melvin. And it was interesting. John Daniels was remembering that Willie Peralta was the name the Rangers threw out there. As Cruz bounces to Segura for out number 1. And so John Daniels said, you know, we really like Peralta. Now remember, he was just into the organization. He had just signed a professional contract that year. And Cruz was kind of the throw-in guy in that trade. The Brewers got Cordero, and the Rangers got Lee, and that was a big trade at the time. Lance Nix was involved, and Kevin Minch, and all these names kept assembling.
Brewers thought very highly of Nelson Cruz, and they didn't want to see him go. But the Brewers at the time were pretty rich in big league outfielders, and felt as though they had, you know, some depth, and ended up getting a closer.
But as John Daniels told the story, he said Willie Peralta was a quick no from Doug Melvin when that name came up, even at a very young age at the time. We're talking about 2006 here. So,
man, Willie hadn't been pitching all that long at that time. I'll tell you, that last pitch that Peralta threw was electric. That sinker, 96, going down and away to Mitch Moreland.
Moreland bumped up a spot in the batting order. That one's hit hard opposite field. Got a chance to go. Braun will watch it go. And Mitch Moreland gets one he can handle and drives one out of here. That's his 5th home run of the season.
That was 96 miles an hour, just like the one before, but it didn't have the same movement. That one stayed up pretty much down the middle of the plate, and Moreland sending it out of here to the opposite field. There you see it. Watch where it ends up. Out over the plate, up. One before that was down around the knees. Just a slight difference in location and a big difference in result.
So Moreland, with home run number 5, gives him 12 RBIs. He's been swinging a hot bat here lately, and he puts the Rangers on the board for Giovanni Soto, who was a late add to the lineup after A.J. Pierzynski was a scratch, an oblique injury for the Rangers starting catcher. Familiar face at the plate in Soto, longtime Cub, former Rookie of the Year with the Chicago Cubs. That interleague baseball, and Telly Hughes, Ron Renicky was commenting on interleague baseball, the matchups that are in front of us this week.
Yeah, he really chose his words very carefully when asked how he feels about the new format in terms of interleague play. But he went on to say that he really prefers it being just one weekend where fans can really look forward to, as opposed to it being spread out. But nonetheless, he said it's okay for him right now, but he preferred the other way instead.
Well, interleague baseball every week of the year now, as Soto pops this one up to Betancourt for out number 2. Now with the Astros going to the American League, there's always an interleague game somewhere. Well, from a dynamic backcourt that helped the Bucks to the playoffs to Larry Sanders' emergence as a premier post player, Fox Sports Wisconsin takes a look back at the Bucks season. It's Bucks Season Review, Tuesday, 10:30 p.m. only on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Today, Tuesday, at 10:30 p.m. or as soon as our game is over here. You never know with these two offenses.
They might be here all night.
Here's David Murphy now with 2 away. In the air to left. Braun almost in his tracks. And that's that for the Rangers in the second. They get a home run from Mitch Moreland. 5-1 Brew Crew. We head to the bottom of the second. It's in the first inning for Milwaukee. Rangers getting a home run from Mitch Moreland. Willie Peralta will lead off for the Brewers as we head to the bottom of the second, and Grimm's first offering is in there for a strike. Peralta can swing the bat a little bit. You wouldn't know it by that particular hack, but he's a guy that is a threat at the plate. He's 3 for 11 this season. Has an extra base hit, a double.
That's a tough curveball for even a position player to be able to handle, let alone a pitcher. Really, when he gets a pitch in his wheelhouse, he'll take a pretty good whack at it.
Strike called outside corner, so he burns one off, a fastball, and Peralta is the second strikeout victim for Justin Grimm. Our Carsoup.com email the booth question comes from Two Rivers today. Diane wants to know, how much is advanced scouting key when teams face an interleague opponent?
Yeah, very important. I mean, you know, the scouts sit behind home plate. You have one on the road and maybe multiples, but you know, the way interleague play is and the way players bounce around from team to team, league to league, there's always somebody that has a pretty good idea of what a guy's got out there. Maybe not so much with a rookie like Justin Grimm. Brewers didn't have much problem against him first time through. Basically a 2-pitch pitcher. He did throw the one changeup, but it ended up for a home run. You wonder how many more of those he's going to throw.
Well, first time through the batting order, the Brewers go 5 for 9 against Grimm. A double and a home run. Aoki had an infield hit his first time up. Aoki, a little half swing roller to short, and he legged it out for an infield single. Now there are a ton of Japanese media members here covering this series, with Yu Darvish, who travels a big media contingency anyway, and certainly Nori Aoki has a big group that follows him around. 2 stars in Japan. Yu Darvish was in another stratosphere, according to Nori Aoki. But Aoki is one of the more famous players, certainly one of the favorite Japanese players during his time in Japan, and having good success here in the States as he flies out to center field for the second out of the second inning.
I always like to see the best in the business when they come into town, but I don't think the Brewer offense minds too much not having to face Darvish. That guy's nasty. Came 1 out away from a no-hitter earlier this year.
Darvish will next pitch against that same team that he almost no-hit, the Houston Astros. That'll be on Saturday in Houston. Segura takes a strike. Grimm's stuff looks a lot sharper here in the second inning. He has spotted that fastball on a couple of occasions right on the outside corner. There's a breaking ball on the ground to Kinsler, and that will retire the side in a bounce back inning for Justin Grimm. Getting a home run from Betancourt. Mitch Moreland homering for the Rangers in the second. As Willie Peralta is ready to go to work here in the third inning. Our Charter high-speed pitch so far. Got a couple of guys who have very good fastballs. Peralta as fast as 96 in the early going, and Justin Grimm hit 93 last inning. Two young pitchers with great stuff. You figure they have excellent prospects for a major league career going, but they're just getting their big league career started.
Yeah, still learning how to pitch, both of them. Willie Peralta with that big sinker, big velocity, and Justin Grimm showing a good curveball tonight.
So Peralta back out there for his third inning. Leonis Martin will lead off. Getting the chance to play center field for the Rangers tonight. Typically against right-handed pitching. It is Martin. Craig Gentry is the other half of that platoon. Bouncing ball out to Ricky Weeks. And Peralta gets another ground ball out. And one gone here in the third. Now joining us here in the booth is Brewers general manager Doug Melvin, former Texas Rangers general manager. And does anything come to mind when you see the Rangers on the field? It's been a while, but there's probably some good memories back in those days.
Yeah, it has been a while. And, you know, I like the way Mike Maddox was out there on the mound, and Muni hadn't even grounded third yet. I said, I wonder if Mike still has that same energy he had when he was with us. But no, there's a few people. I know Eric Nadel in the radio booth and Tom Grieve, and that, but there are not a lot of players left, and that's been going on almost 9-10 years now. But I had a nice time in Texas. I enjoyed it there from '95 to '02. We got to win the playoffs 3 out of 4 years, and Johnny Oates managed most of those years. So it was a lot of fun, and there were some similarities when I came here to Milwaukee. A lot of similarities to what they had when I first went to Texas.
And you were able to take an organization in Texas and in Milwaukee and return that organization to the postseason. And of course, the Rangers hadn't done a whole lot of winning before you guys and your leadership took the Rangers in. What a great team you guys had as well, and some of the great sluggers in the game, and Pudge Rodriguez, Juan Gonzalez, and those are some interesting teams back then. They could bang away with the best of them.
Yeah, they were a great offensive team. Had Will Clark, that Palmeiro come in later on, and Rusty Greer. But it was a very good offensive club that was in a ballpark that was conducive to balls flying out of there. But you know, having the opportunity as a general manager, never had to look for a catcher for all those years with Pudge Rodriguez back there. It's like we were talking about Molina the other day, and I know that there was a play, for example, the other day in that first inning where Kozma threw to second and Maldonado was off first base, and they were saying, well, he didn't get a good secondary lead. Well, that's because of the guy behind home plate. That secondary lead is a little bit shorter. I remember at a time that Rafael Palmeiro was holding a runner at first base, and the runner said to Rafi, he says, I'm not going to get off too far because that little Pudge catcher back there will throw me out. And the next pitch, Pudge threw down to first base and threw the guy out.
Wow.
As small a lead as he took, he still got caught flat-footed.
He called it.
Yeah, the thing that amazed me about Pudge Rodriguez, Jim Sundberg, both guys that caught a lot in Texas, that heat, I mean, neither one of them missed too many games back in those days.
No, they caught a lot. Pudge would catch 150 games pretty well.
Right.
But
now Willie Peralta makes quick work of the Rangers, striking out Kinsler. Doug will stay with us. We'll chat about the Brew Crew when we come back at the bottom of the third. Always good to catch up with Doug. We try to do it once a homestand. And you come in today after the Brewers have dropped 5 straight. The homestand got off to a great start, winning back-to-back games against the Pirates. And it's starting to look like this has potential to be a streaky team, a really hot or a really cold team. And sometimes that can drive a general manager crazy.
Yeah, we hope not. But, yeah, you're on that emotional roller coaster already. And, we're 2-8. Then we're 9-0, and now we're 3-7 or 3-8 the last 10-11 games. So you don't want to be there, but you just got to play better baseball. And I thought the Cardinals game we could have won a couple of those games, but we didn't. So we need to try to make up some ground. So we got to get our pitching back in order. Timely base hits, and get back on the winning track. The one thing is that there's a lot of good teams in the game. I don't think there's any teams that are pushovers in the league now, and you go in and you're facing teams. There's a lot of good pitching with other teams, and we've always had a good record at home. We need to get back of doing that, where teams come in here and get a little bit intimidated, and getting off to the start tonight. Now we got to hold them.
And of course, you being a very good general manager, knew that Yuniesky Betancourt would be off to the start that he's off to right now, hitting his 8th home run. I tell you, where would you guys be without Uni right now?
Yeah, the only things I knew this year was Segura was going to have a good year, Gomez and Betancourt.
Right, savvy general manager.
And no, Uni's done a great job, and I always liked Uni. I know people have been sometimes maybe critical because of the range factor, the on base, and all that. I keep telling people, you don't win 96 games like we did in 2011 with a mediocre, below average shortstop. He still does some things that I think go unnoticed. He's got a great personality in that clubhouse. He's always smiling. Interesting story today about him trying to learn the English language so he can communicate better, listen to the coaches better, have a little more feedback when he's talked to or given some instruction. But he came up. We're very fortunate. He had a great spring with Philadelphia, and our scouts that saw him in Florida said there was no reason not to sign him. And Gordash, worked with the agent. We were negotiating all winter with him, but he wanted a major league contract. We didn't give it to him, and then we ended up giving Alex one later on. And it's a good thing that he came back to us, because I don't know if Aramis would have hit 6 homers and 21 RBIs in the month when he was out. So it was he's done a great job for us, and hope he can keep going.
And he's played 3 positions, not started them all, but he was out in left field. He got him at first base and third base, and I guess that's going to come into play when Corey Hart comes back.
Yeah, versatility. Ron likes players with versatility. The National League, it's good to have players with versatility. Uni's got good hands. He's got good hands. He's got a strong arm. He's got a feel now for all these positions. I've always said that the person that plays too many positions sometimes is not going to be real good at it, because they're never out there long enough to really get enough reps in that. But he's got a chance to be very good defensively and make the plays. Range factor, all those kind of things come into play, but instincts that he has in the field, he's pretty good. The slow roller, there was a couple bunt plays from third base where he came in and threw to third base with Segura covering. Some guys don't do that. He made a play the other day going home on a ball hit to him at first base. So his instincts out there are better than what people would think.
What have you seen from Aramis Ramirez, and can you kind of take us through the discussion process, whether Ramirez was going to go down and play in a minor league rehab, and why he didn't, and maybe just walk us through that and what you've seen from him since he has come back?
Yeah, well, players, they don't have to go down. And if they, we have a veteran player like him, we have to trust his judgment that he's going to be able to go up there and face guys throwing 90 and be ready. And that, so, the concerns are, on the base paths. Sometimes, he got injured on a play that a throw came in quickly and you had to make a late slide. So those things can happen. So he's just got to be careful. We got to trust his judgment in doing that. To go down the minor leagues, there are some veterans that, prefer not to. You never know in the minor leagues. You get a young guy throwing, and sometimes they're not around the strike zone, and the lights aren't as good at a few of the ballparks, and the traveling definitely is not as good. So, but we worked out here. We did think about activating him just to come off the bench a little bit. He just felt he didn't want to do that. He felt he wanted to when he was ready, he wanted to be ready to step in and play. So Ron's got him playing, day off playing, and he'll eventually work in. But Ramos is smart enough. He's played long enough. He'll tell us if he's a little bit sore and can't play a given day. Ron will be able to. Ron's got a relationship with the guys to go to them and find that out. So we didn't push the issue.
Where's Corey Hart right now? What is he doing baseball-wise right now?
Yeah, he's getting ground balls, taking some swings. He's still going to be a little ways away yet. We don't really have a timeline on it yet. He's in the dugout. At least he's here in the ballpark watching the club play, which I think is good to be around the ball club. It gives him the energy and the enthusiasm to go out there and get ready. So he's still a ways away though yet.
We were talking about the trade that you made with the Rangers. You guys have been trade partners a couple of times, but the one that obviously comes to mind with Nelson Cruz in right field and Carlos Lee, of course, going to Texas. And we had a conversation with John Daniels earlier, and he said the name Willie Peralta came up. He was such a young pitcher. Do you remember that sequence? He said he got a fast no from you concerning Willie Peralta.
and Willie was in the real lower levels down in rookie ball. But John and the Rangers are pretty good. When they make trades, they always ask for one other player to get thrown in. A lot of times they've asked, they got a lot of scouts in the Latin American country and Dominican Republic, and they sometimes can squeeze a Latin player down there, and they think a general manager maybe doesn't know who he is or whatever. And with the time when we put Nelson Cruz in the deal, we really didn't want to do that either. But we had Corey Hart playing right field, and Braun was in the left field, and Nelson had already been traded from the Mets to Oakland to us. He'd already been traded 3 times. He was a late developer, late bloomer, but that trade started at noon that day. We called Carlos Lee's agent and Adam Katz and said we'd like to find out if we're close or not on Carlos. We made him an offer of $55 million for 5 years, and I said if you could get back in the next 72 hours to let us know. He called back 30 minutes later and said we weren't even close.
Wow.
So Mark Attanasio was in the office at the time. He was stunned. He heard the phone call.
Yeah.
And it turned out we weren't close. He got $100 million, but I felt that we probably should make that trade by midnight. We tried to make the trade by midnight that night because I didn't want things to get out that we had made an offer and that we weren't close, because some team might think that they wouldn't be able to get him and that. So Rangers were down on Cordero. I remember he pitched on a Sunday night game and blew a game. They hadn't been using him as the closer, and I think it was just, teams sometimes get down or frustrated on a player or whatever, and we just thought the timing was right to do it. The unfortunate part was having to put Nelson in. The interesting part was Nelson Cruz was on outright waivers a year later, and everybody passed on him. Right. He went through waivers, and we looked back at that point and said, should we have claimed him and maybe gotten him back at that time, because he was out of options. But we just didn't have room with Corey Hart and Braun. But there was a lot of other teams that looked at that and said, boy, they wish they would have taken that waiver claim and $20,000 that had a pretty good player.
Pretty good memory.
Fascinating.
Pretty good memory, huh? That's the kind of memory you have to have if you're a general manager.
And what's funny is the same conversation with John Daniels from the other perspective.
Right.
And you guys, it's amazing how all the trades that you've made in your career and John Daniels have made, and you guys can remember some of the specific examples. And certainly Nelson Cruz was one of those lightning in a bottle moments for Texas, that he ended up being a fantastic player, still is, and it is interesting walking down that road. But you guys have had some deals in the past, and I remember Louis Cruz was involved in one, and you guys had
Louis Cruz at spring training. I think we'd sent Louis Cruz over.
So do you find that there are teams, there are other general managers that you seem to fit, or is it just the personnel of the organization at that time?
There's certain GMs that you get a read on, and John's always very easy to talk to, comfortable to talk to. They were involved with the Greinke trade, and it was them and the Angels last year. So we had a lot of conversations on that, and I don't want to get into names because those names are still with the Rangers. So, but deals that's the fun part about our game, that a few years down the road you can discuss them a little bit more than you can when players are still active.
Yeah, when Mike Maddox was here, did he ever tell you why he put his hand on the shoulder of the pitcher? I mean, everybody's kind of wondering about that. He go up there and put his hand, is it checking his pulse, or what is he doing?
I don't know. How much of that is? Maybe seeing if his shoulder's still stable or whatever. I don't know.
Checking the tension level.
Right.
That might be it, the tension level.
So we've been talking about, some of the injuries, some of the guys coming back. Your coaching staff's had a rough stretch.
Wow. Yeah, Garth Ord got a nice cut on his hand today. I showed the two of you earlier.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that.
Yeah.
Without any warning, Doug comes up and shows us the
sharpening his knife last night apparently, and kind of slipped. And
I took it around to some of the players and showed the players I wanted to toughen them up before tonight's game.
Yeah, tell them no sharpening knives right on my watch.
Yeah, I told Garth that I said it didn't look like that knife needed sharpening.
Gomez sends one fouled left, and I'm glad Gomez is batting here in this inning, and you touched on it a little bit last half inning, but Carlos Gomez, and I know you guys crunch the numbers, but the OPS numbers, batting average, on base percentage, slugging percentage, these numbers are off the charts for Carlos Gomez right now.
I think he's second behind Tulowitzki in the National League for OPS, but yeah, he is. I think he's more under control. Sometimes you see it. It doesn't appear to be with some of his swings, but I do think he's a little more poised. I think Johnny Nairn is getting through to him, and I look at Carlos Gomez and I relate it to his skills, and his tools are very similar to having a young pitcher that can throw 96, 97, just doesn't throw enough strikes, has to command his pitches a little bit more. And you just have to be patient with it. You just have to be patient, because if you're not patient with that pitcher, how many of those pitchers, end up with another ball club like Pedro Martinez or whatever? And he's very similar. You just have to be with that kind of skill set, those kind of tools. You have to be patient, and you just have to know when it's time. And some of them make it, and some of them don't.
And speaking from a guy that had a series of one-year non-guaranteed contracts, but I think a little bit of it has to do with his comfort level, knowing that he's going to be with the organization for 4 years, not having to fight and scratch to keep a job. And I think it's settled him down quite a bit.
Yeah, I think it has. I think you and I'd be more comfortable with his contract, right?
Absolutely.
We'd be settled down.
I don't think I'd be worthy of it, but I'd take it.
Oh, great play by Beltre. Long throw to first, short hop, and a pick. Wow. That was outstanding on both ends. My goodness.
Some kind of player, that Beltre.
Beltre to Moreland. Well, Doug, great to see you.
Okay.
We always appreciate the time.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Bill.
Doug. Thanks, General Manager Doug Melvin.
Fourth inning, the Brewers leading off interleague play with the Texas Rangers here tonight. This being the first of 4 interleague series here at Miller Park. So tonight on our AT&T Twitter poll, we're asking Brewers fans, which interleague team are you most excited to see? Is it the Rangers, the Twins, the Athletics, or the Angels coming in August? And if fans want to go road tripping, they can head to Seattle, Houston, or also Minnesota. So BA, lots of fun interleague options from fans. We'll hear from them later in the game.
Yeah, the Brewers going through the very tough American League West this season, and that includes the home and home with the Texas Rangers. The Brewers will have 2 in Arlington in August. It'll be nice and cool in Arlington in August. Good start tonight, 5-1 the score as we head to the 4th. The Brewers scored all 5 runs in the bottom of the first inning. Just a fantastic play to end the last inning. You're going to see that one all over the highlight reels tonight. That's about as good as you can do it over at third base by Adrian Beltre, which not only robbed Betancourt of a base hit, but probably robbed him of an RBI as well.
No, this Rangers team has been very good in all aspects of the game so far this year. I mentioned that they've committed 13 errors, and ironically, 8 of them have come from 2 guys, Beltre and Kinsler, 2 of the better defenders in the league.
Adrian Beltre, 4-time Gold Glove Award winner, due up second here in this inning. 2, 3, and 4 coming up. Andrews, Beltre, and Cruz. Always good to visit with Doug Melvin. Always appreciate his insights, and it's fun to talk general manager talk, and when they get into the trades, and John Daniels is a great guy to talk to as well. And like Doug, when they get, maybe there's a statute of limitations on when you can talk about trades, but when you hit that marker, they're fascinating to listen to and go through all the details of these particular trades that are made. As Andrews is retired, another ground ball out for Peralta. And let's take you back to that play that ended the last inning by Beltre, and even Moreland on the other side.
Just look at the balance for Beltre, knowing exactly where first base is, and That was a tough scoop for Mitch Moreland. That was one of those in-between jobs, and just kind of a sidearm flip, a nice pick, and saved the run for Justin Grimm.
What a player. 4 Gold Gloves, 2 of those with Seattle. And like Yadier Molina, who has won the last 2 Platinum Gloves given to the best defender in that particular league, Beltre's the one who has won the last 2 in the American League, and there's not anybody doing it better at third base than this guy.
And he won Gold Gloves in 07 and 08 with the Mariners. Has committed 3 errors this year. Kinsler's got 5.
Well, Beltre tied up by a good fastball. I had the pleasure to see Adrian Beltre as a very young player. He was 19 years of age coming up through the Dodgers system. And the Dodgers, I can remember John Shelby was in the organization at the time saying, wait till you see this kid. Ron Renicky was his manager, as a matter of fact. Way back in 1998, Renicky managed a 19-year-old Adrian Beltre in the Texas League in San Antonio. Now in his 16th season in the big leagues. He was in the major leagues later that year in '98.
And there's a good fastball from Peralta. Just missed. I guess it was low. Could have gone either way.
Three balls, 2 strikes on Beltre. 1 away for Peralta here in the 4th. And a broken bat bouncer. Segura ranging over. Gloves, throws, got him. Boy, what a great matchup in this series of 2 terrific shortstops in Segura and Elvis Andrus.
Yeah, we talked about balance with that play Adrian Beltre made, but how about Segura? I mean, ranging far up the middle. Looked like he was playing to pull just a little bit, but that's off balance throw going away from first base and puts that one right on the money over to Betancourt, and had something on it. He's been a lot of fun to watch. He's made 1 error all year.
It's been impressive how far he ranged over to make that play. He was covering the hole against Beltre, just about where he's standing right now, and makes that play all the way across near the bag at second.
This has such a good first step. Very quick, good first step, meaning that first step he makes is right to the baseball.
Now, he was the signature piece in that trade, and you heard Doug Melvin mention how close the Brewers were to trading Greinke to the Rangers last year. But the Angels countered with 3 big prospects, Segura being the one at the top of the list. Johnny Hellwig and Angel Pena was the other one.
I don't really think the Brewers thought that he would be this effective and this much of an impact player this soon. I think he surprised everybody.
I think you're right. He'll get another chance. Got a long throw, and it is a good one. And that is a 1-2-3 inning with 3 ground ball outs for Willie Peralta. Official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. By Ho-Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more. And by Marshfield Clinic, don't just live, shine. Beautiful Miller Park on a Tuesday night. Roof is open, panels are open, and the Brewers getting 5 in the first, and they lead 5-1 as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. And the bottom of the order coming up, Maldonado followed by Peralta, the pitcher, and then back to the top in Nori Aoki. Justin Grimm has settled down since that 5-run first. Got some great defense last inning and able to pitch around 2 walks in the 3rd inning. He's given up 5 hits, all coming in the first, 2 walks allowed, and has 3 strikeouts thus far as Maldonado sends that one into left center. Martin runs it down. The speedy Leonis Martin, one of the fastest in the big leagues, able to make that play.
Talking about getting a good jump. Wow. Hey, come out to Miller Park for Brewers Spring Madness. That's May 20th through the 22nd. The Dodgers are going to be here in Wisconsin. Save 50% on select seats. Hot dogs and small sodas are just $1. For tickets, visit brewers.com/madness. Come see the Dodgers.
Yeah, Brewers matching up for the 2nd time in the first 2 months against Los Angeles. who continue to be bitten by the injury bug. I don't know if you saw today, Rock. They put Jerry Hairston on the DL today.
That's a big loss coming off the bench.
Ted Lilly went on the DL, and still without Greinke. Adrian Gonzalez has a neck injury, although he's trying to play through it. Peralta out quickly. That curveball has tied him up. And he is down on strikes for the second time. Well, don't forget the World Poker Tour Championship coming up, the WPT Bogota Poker Open, presented by ClubWPT.com. $800,000 on the line at the table. Sundays on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Top of the order, Norichika Aoki. 1 for 2 with a run scored tonight. Takes strike 1 from Grimm. Last time the Rangers were in Miller Park, 2010, they took 2 out of 3 from the Brewers. Interesting that it is only the 3rd interleague matchup with Texas for Milwaukee. Ron Washington's Rangers making back-to-back appearances in the World Series. They made the playoffs last year, but were ousted in the wild card play-in game by the Baltimore Orioles. And a disappointing finish to the season for the Rangers, who had a division championship in their grasp. They had a lead going into the final series of the year, and all they needed was 1 win in Oakland to win the division. They got swept by the Athletics.
They just haven't been able to get over the top, but they have put together 3 very nice seasons over there in Arlington.
Ron Washington, longtime major league coach, terrific manager. Aoki delivers a base hit to right. That will extend the inning for Gene Segura, and the Brewers come up with their first hit since the first inning. We're talking a lot about Segura's bat. How about his D at our freaky fast delivery of the game, courtesy of Jimmy Johns?
You have 1 error in now 30 games for Gene Segura. He's got good range. He's got a terrific arm. And the amazing thing about just having 1 error at this point in the season, when you have range like Segura, a lot of times you get the baseballs and make throws that a lot of shortstops aren't going to make because they're not going to be able to get to a baseball. But even when he throws off balance, he ordinarily has got it right on the money.
I think the next phase for Segura, and something that we're all kind of anxious to see, after he played a full season last year, got called up to the big leagues, and finished with the Brewers, so he had an extra month to his season. Then he goes to winter ball in the Dominican Republic. He won a batting title there, played a full winter schedule, came in spring training, and you wonder if at some point he's going to hit the wall a little bit. Brewers hope not. He's a young player with a tremendous amount of ability. And how long can he keep up this pace on both sides of the ball? And he rips that one to left. There's a pretty good answer. That is 1 hop off the wall. Aoki around third, and he'll stop there. This time he heeds the advice of his third base coach.
I think Eddie would have body blocked him because there's no way he would have scored on that.
Another 2-hit game for Segura.
A hanging curveball this time from Grimm. One of the few times he's made a mistake with that pitch. This ball comes up, and Murphy doing a good job hitting the cutoff man, and that's why Ed Cedar had to hold Aoki at third base. Any problems with that relay throw, and Cedar would have sent him.
If you weren't with us in the first inning, the Brewers scored 5, but the first run that scored was Aoki, and he ran right through a stop sign of Ed Cedar. So they will walk Braun here, and now you start to see the impact of an Aramis Ramirez, and the Rangers are going to take the chance that he's a little rusty at the plate. And they'll put Braun on. Ryan leads the major leagues in intentional walks. This will be his 7th intentional walk. The by the way, speaking of numbers, Gene Segura now with 13 multi-hit games. Only Shin-Soo Choo of the Reds has more in the National League. So he's at second. That creates the base for Braun, who has walked, and now Mike Maddox on his way to mound to have a chat with Grimm. Nobody doing it more than Ryan Braun in the National League. But you feel like, Rock, those numbers are going to start to dwindle a little bit once Ramirez gets back and healthy.
Right, and I guess the surprise on that list, Darwin Barney, but he's an 8th place hitter in Chicago. So you walk him, you get to the pitcher. No surprise, Joey Votto, who the Brewers are going to see on Friday, is up amongst league leaders.
Well, a golden opportunity here. You don't feel real good about a 4-run lead with this Rangers batting order. This is a team that can score runs in a hurry. And this would go a long way if the Brewers can add to it. An amazing statistic that Aramis Ramirez throughout his career with 10 grand slams. And a .349 hitter throughout his career in this spot. And he takes strike one.
Well, understands who the pressure is on. It's on the pitcher, and veteran guys normally are going to do better in these spots. There's that curveball. That is a dandy. That's a good pitch. That's the pitch that Segura hit for a double this inning, but Grimm left it up. This was a biter going down and away.
Is there a particular pitch you would struggle more with if you're just coming back? You're rusty.
Off speed. Oh yeah. You don't see many of those in batting practice.
And another off speed from Grimm. A curveball misses. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Curveballs, change-ups. The only thing you really see in batting practice is a fastball, and even those aren't all that hard coming from coaches.
Big spot, bases loaded, 2 outs, and a 1-2. Just missed. Close one.
And Ramirez looking for that curveball. That looked like a pretty good pitch.
Well, the guy catching Grimm, Giovanni Soto, certainly knows Ramirez. Those two are teammates in Chicago. And down he goes. Grimm wiggles off a big hook for the Rangers. Ramirez just trying to get his timing back. Strikes out to end the inning. During the season from May to August, and it involves partnering with the Brewers Community Foundation, players and coaches, Brewers wives, alumni, and team personnel, all working in the community hand in hand. And in May, the awareness is centered on a project called May Blitz Build. Players, Brewers wives, and staff will assist organizers from Habitat for Humanity and residents of the local community to build a home over a week's time. The endeavor is sponsored by Ryan Braun, Brewers Wives, and Brewers Community Foundation. Good to see the sausages out on a sunny day today at the Habitat for Humanity, and a good job by Ryan Braun, who does a fantastic job in the community, and a lot of what he does goes unnoticed and unrecognized. Not today, but he does a lot of stuff on his own, and appreciate his efforts. Mitch Moreland will lead off for Texas. He homered against Peralta, the only blemish of the night against the hard-throwing right-hander. Moreland, Giovanni Soto, and David Murphy due up for the Rangers. Brewers lead 5-1. They've out-hit Texas 7-1. And that lone hit was an opposite field home run by Moreland. His 5th homer, his 12th RBI. And Moreland has made a terrific play at first base in this game as well, on a short hop scoop from Beltre. A liner, but look at Segura, well positioned right there to make the play, and that has got to drive Mitch Moreland out of his mind.
I tell you, Willie Peralta very fortunate too that he was able to get out of the way of that line drive. Wow. Well, check out Segura. You can see him playing pretty much right up the middle. Brewers have him positioned perfectly, and check out Willie get out of the way and right at Gene Segura for the out. Boy, Willie Peralta very fortunate that he was able to get out of that line drive.
Wow, right across the back. Brewers do a lot of positioning and shifting of their infielders. Maybe only the Cubs in the National League do it as much. Tampa Bay Rays over in the American League shift a lot as well. But Rocky, think about Peralta's last outing against the Cardinals, and on paper it was not good, and certainly an ERA buster his last time out, but he gave up so many ground ball seeing eye singles as a part of a big Cardinal third inning, scoring 6 runs.
And flares into the outfield, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. I mean, sometimes you make good pitches, give up base hits. Sometimes you make bad pitches and get outs.
Now, we're not making excuses for Peralta because he still gave up the hits and the runs, but you know, you've seen enough games, you know when just things aren't going your way, and that was one of those games, and he went through the first 2 innings no problem, and then things just unraveled for him.
It'd be one thing if he's giving up home runs and gappers, you know, doubles and things like that. He did not. A lot of seeing eye hits. You're right.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Soto. Hit in the air to right. Pretty well hit. Aoki on the track, out of room. That ball's off the wall. Soto on his way to second. The throw comes in. The tag, not in time.
Oh, nice throw. Wow.
Soto with a slide to the outfield side of the base, and that probably got him in there by an eyelash.
What a play by Aoki out there in right field. He realized that he wasn't going to be able to get there. He pulled up. He played it perfectly off of that wall and almost was able to get Soto getting into second base. Talk about an accurate throw. Spins around, throw it on a strike to Gene Segura, who a little bit late with the tag. Good call out there at second base. That's an incredible throw.
Yeah, and it was right on the bag. Maybe if Segura is on the other side of the base runner, just the opposite on a throw you would take from a catcher. But that was a good slide by Soto to the back of the bag, and he's able to stretch it into a 1-out double. That's only the second hit for the Rangers. David Murphy now, who is 0 for 1. Murphy, the everyday left fielder for Texas. They're going to have a couple of holes in their outfield. Free agents to be Murphy and Cruz upon season's end. 2 balls and a strike. Bouncing ball off the end of the bat. And Ricky Weeks, who has been busy tonight, he and Segura for the second out. Soto advances to third.
Yeah, hey, fans, enroll in a world-class experience this summer as Quick Trip presents the first annual Brewers Baseball Academy. These instructional kit camps are coming to a city near you. Visit brewers.com/camps today. That was the 9th ground ball out for Willie Peralta. So in his start against the Cardinals, the ground balls were finding holes. Today, they're not.
A runner at third with 2 gone, and Leonis Martin up. Got the pitcher spot due up next. Rangers have already put Lance Berkman, who is typically their designated hitter, in that on-deck circle, if the Brewers had any designs of pitching around Martin here. Boy, there's a good-looking changeup from Peralta, and it's 1-1.
Haven't thrown too many of those, and Lance Berkman getting ready on deck. He's standing out there just to make sure that the Brewers don't walk this guy intentionally.
Robbie Ross is in the bullpen. Big runner to Strand at third, and a swing and a miss.
Another one.
1-2, and he
doubled up on the changeup.
Well, we'll see what he gives him here. Maldonado wants another one. 3 in a row coming from Peralta. Ball and 2 strikes. And he doesn't bite this time.
And good spot for it right there, down and away.
Leonis Martin getting his first real significant shot in the big leagues this year. He's been up and down the last 2 seasons. He's already played in more games this year than he has last season. Got a cup of coffee in 2011. He's from Cuba. Just 25 years of age. Guess who his favorite player growing up was, Ron?
Tell me.
Uni Betancourt.
I wouldn't have got that.
His favorite player. Uni played for the Cuban national team. And Martin was in that age. He was a teenager at the time. And he wanted to be like Uni Betancourt.
How about that?
True story.
And they're in the same game together. How about that?
Villa Clara in Cuba. And another one of the great young prospects for the Texas Rangers. They have a boatload of them. Full count, runner at third with 2 away. And Peralta strikes out Martin to end it. Strands a runner at third base. 5-run, 5-hit inning for the Brewers, and what a way to start tonight.
And the young man, Justin Grimm, man, really hasn't been giving up a whole lot. And before he was able to settle in, the Brewers were able to unload on him. 5 hits, a couple of extra base hits, and capped off by a Uni Betancourt home run, his 8th of the year. Since that time, Grimm has settled down nicely.
Grimm has issued a couple of walks since that time. 3 walks total, but one of them was intentional. And has only given up 2 hits since the first inning. You see where the Brewers stand right now. It's 5-1. They've out-hit the Rangers 7-2 as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. And he has zipped that fastball on the outside corner ever since the first inning. That has gotten him ahead of many counts since he struggled in the first. And honestly, if the Rangers make a couple of plays behind him, specifically Cruz and Wright, and Kinsler on a bit of a botched base running moment there for the Brewers, who knows how that inning could have turned for Grimm.
And then Murphy out and left. He didn't see that fly ball by Gomez. That turned into a double and 2 runs. So no errors on the board, but a number of misplays in the first inning.
Well, Texas has been a good defensive team this year. Well, I think you looked at the schedule and you knew this is going to be one of the tougher homestands of the season, with the Pirates, the Cardinals, and the Rangers coming in. As Weeks rips one back up the middle of the base hit. So Ricky Weeks is aboard for the 2nd time. That's a hit to go along with a walk. He's 1 for 2 and a leadoff base runner in the 5th.
And Ron Renneke would love to see Ricky Weeks get going. Start swinging the bat like he did in the first 10 days of the year. Got a hanging curveball that time and banged it into center field. You see that bandage on the left hand of Garth Orge. There it is.
No left-handed high fives tonight.
No.
Garth Orge, who required 10 stitches on the top of that hand where that padding is. Gomez takes one high and tight. Gomez with the 2 RBIs in the first inning.
Up and in, opening up that outside corner.
Soto out with a quick visit for Grimm.
Last inning for sure. His spot due to lead off next inning. 91 pitches for Grimm.
Now the Brewers had the bases loaded last inning with 2 outs. And Grimm struck out Aramis Ramirez to end the threat.
The Brewers have had him on the ropes every inning except the 2nd.
And that hit him. So Gomez is hit as Grimm continues to come inside. Wait a minute. Las Diaz is calling that a foul ball. And now Ron Renicky is coming out. That didn't sound like a bat. Las Diaz called it right away. He said a foul ball.
Yeah, Gomez was on his way to first base. Las Diaz said nothing doing. Get back in there and hit. So 3 pitches up and in on Carlos Gomez, and let's see where it gets him. Got him on the wrist. I mean, that's a no-brainer. I mean, you got to be sure about that call. Wow. Right off the top of the hand, and gets him, and Las Diaz calling a foul ball right away. That's just a bad call.
Well, now you got a hit after just being drilled in the hand. Yeah, Gomez immediately took the glove off, tried to show Diaz the area that he was hit, but he wasn't buying it. 2 balls and a strike. Weeks over at first, and another one in there. This time a breaking ball, and it's 3-1.
And Diaz not even looking. He doesn't want to look. Why not look? Did he peek at it at least? He just keeps saying no.
Strike 2. Full count to Gomez. Well, he hasn't swung the bat yet. And you're hoping he's okay to do it. If this pitch is close, we'll find out.
Pretty good opportunity for Ricky Weeks to run here.
There he goes. And Gomez swings and fouls it back. And he looked like he was all right with the swing.
Man, Rangers catchers have struggled in that department, throwing out base runners.
Soto is a little better than Pierzynski.
2 for 18 so far this year.
You got to put that on the pitchers just as much when you see those kind of numbers. Weeks goes again, swing and a miss. Throw to second is in time. So that turns into a strike him out, throw him out double play as Gomez continues to check his hand on the way back to the dugout. Well, the Rangers got a break there.
Went with a curveball and a 3-2 pitch. Looks like a pretty good pitch to hit. You can see Gomez with the big swing. He goes down, and Ricky Weeks an easy out at second base. Not even close.
Yeah, Weeks got a late jump. So now 2 outs, nobody on. And that will quiet down the Rangers bullpen for the time being, with Grimm's spot due to lead off the 6th inning. Now Uni B leading the club in home runs after this bolt. Powerball home run number 8. Back in the first inning, it capped off a 5-run first. A 2-run home run by Betancourt. 8 homers, 24 runs batted in. And down he goes. So Grimm, after a 5-run first, gets through 5 for the Rangers. They go to the 6th. And his wife, along with Craig and Michelle Council, they attended the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Milwaukee, the MVP dinner. And the Brewers Community Foundation presented a check in the amount of $100,000 to support the revitalization of Sherman Park Baseball Diamond, located in Milwaukee's Central City. Brewers Community Foundation supports more than 12 teams that participate in the RBI, Reviving Baseball in Inner Cities program. The Brewers excited about the opportunities this field will provide, and great job by Rick, and there's Cecilia Gore, and the Councils, and Doug and Ellen Melvin. So a nice project there. Ron Renicky going to his lineup card. The Rangers have made a change. Grimm will be pinch hit for. after going 5 innings, allowing 5 runs on 8 hits. And it's going to be Jeff Baker, another former Cub, who will hit for Texas against Willie Peralta. All of those runs against Grimm in the first are earned runs, and what will be his worst start of the season, but you got to give him credit for bouncing back and getting his club through 5 innings tonight. It looked like it was going to be an early exit for Grimm, maybe a first or second inning exit at one point.
The Brewers had a couple of opportunities to put him away and the Rangers, but he was able to get the big outs when you needed them. The Brewers have left 5 men stranded in the first 5 innings. And that included leaving the bases loaded back in the 4th.
See the numbers for Jeff Baker here at Miller Park, and this covers his time with the Cubs and the Rockies.
Most of his at-bats against Milwaukee have come against left-handed pitching. He was a platoon player in Chicago.
Bouncing ball that is going to sneak through, a base hit. And the Rangers with a leadoff base runner for the first time tonight, the pinch hitter Baker. And a man aboard for the top of the order coming up. And now the 3rd time through the order for Peralta. Here's our text question, Rock, courtesy of Ho-Chunk Gaming, Wisconsin. Jeff in Wausau wants to know who benefits more, the pitcher hitting for an NL team or the DH hitting for an AL team. Got any thoughts on who has the advantage?
The pitcher hitting for an NL team.
Something that he does all the time.
Right.
Versus a DH hitting for an AL team. I think what he means there is when a National League team has to use the DH.
Right.
Versus an American League team that comes into a National League park and then they have to have their pitcher hit. That's what I'm guessing it means.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand the question. That's kind of why I hesitated. But, you know, being a designated hitter isn't as easy as just going up there and hitting 4 times a game. I mean, you know, when the National League team goes to an American League ballpark, typically, you know, it's a guy that's going to get a day off. Ryan Braun, he gets to, you know, sit in the dugout, get his at-bats, but doesn't have to play defensively. They kind of use it as kind of a day off to recharge the batteries. And that designated hitter spot in the American League is a designated spot. I mean, one guy normally does that all year. And it's much more difficult than going up there and just grabbing a bat and doing it.
Broken bat, foul down the 3rd base line. Now, for example, the Rangers, their designated hitter is Lance Berkman. You know, he's a player that really doesn't have a role in a National League.
So he gets used
roster.
to it.
Right.
He gets used to being the DH, knowing how to stay ready for each and every one of his at-bats. I don't think there's really a big difference. There might be a slight advantage. I don't know what the numbers are going to tell you when you look at them, but American League pitchers hitting in a National League ballpark as opposed to the NL pitchers that hit all year, I don't know if there's a big difference. I really don't.
Pitchers are pitchers, right?
Yeah.
Kinsler fooled by the pitch and an easy little pop-up for Segura. And there is the first out of the 6th inning.
And last time through the batting order, and that pitch to Kinsler, a changeup. Tell you, threw a nice pitcher to Martin. That was a cut fastball. He did a nice job getting out of the inning, and he's starting to mix it up a little bit more.
He's pitching more, as you said he would throughout the course of the season. A pitcher who is very young with a lot of tools, Willie Peralta, and I think you're going to kind of see the up and downs of Peralta through the year. You're hoping that he locks it in, and with his stuff, he could be a dominant force. I mean, there's no question he is an upper echelon starting pitcher.
You're just going to have to deal with the inconsistency. I mean, that's just what you're going to have to do with a young player, whether it be a pitcher or a position player. They're going to be up, they're going to be down, but you got to stick with them. Can't give up on them.
Got a runner at first and one away. Elvis Andrews, the batter. And he squares and takes a ball. Andrews a good bunter, bunts for a lot of base hits during the regular season. So even in a 5-1 game, the Rangers need base runners, and Andrews thinking about it. Brewers would love to get a ground ball here.
Yep, tough guy to double up, though. He can run. Got to be hit right at somebody.
Andrews signed a big contract with the Rangers prior to the season that could possibly take him through the 2023 season. Think about that. It's a contract that will run from 2015 to 2022, so he still has a couple of years left on an original 3-year deal he signed, and then he signed the extension possibly through 23. A lot of talk that Andrews would be exiting when his free agent season came about, which would have been after next season. But he's going to be a Ranger a while, at least by contract. And he's 24 years of age.
Right. You know, and 10 years from now, he's still going to be relatively young, 34 years old. Still be probably able to play shortstop. One of the best in the big leagues.
He's already in his 5th year in the big leagues. Finished 2nd in the Rookie of the Year in 2009. Twice an All-Star already.
And a lot of postseason experience.
And postseason success for Elvis Andrus. Two balls, 2 strikes. And Peralta reaching back for a little extra. Misfires with a fastball. 3-2 the count. Andrews played in his first World Series when he was 21. The year the Giants beat the Rangers to win the World Series. Cardinals beat him the next year in 11. Runner goes. Andrews fouls it back.
Andrews is a guy that is susceptible to the strikeout. He struck out 19 times this year. A lot for a guy that doesn't hit many home runs. Baker doesn't run well at all. So the Rangers just trying to stay out of a double play.
You saw Andrews blowing on his hands there, and it has cooled off significantly here at Miller Park. It's a little cool breeze blowing through the open air stadium right now. Runner goes again, and a liner in the left center field. Braun is able to cut it off, and that is going to save a run. The throw comes into second. Andrews in with a double. Well, Braun did a great job to cut that ball off. Otherwise, Baker scores easily.
And Andrews is at third base. That was a nice play by Braun. Not going to show up in the box score, but a 3-2 fastball off the inside corner, and well, he belts it into left. There's a nice play by Ryan Braun. Able to turn around and keep Baker at third base.
So a 2-strike double by Elvis Andrus. And now Beltre is coming up, and Peralta is going to have to deal with the heart of this order. And the Rangers putting up their biggest threat of the night. First time they've had 2 runners on in the same inning tonight.
4 base hits by the Texas Rangers, and all but one of them extra bases.
Second and third, 1 away. And a tough guy to strike out in Adrian Beltre. He's usually swinging away early in the count. Peralta's done a nice job being economical in this game. A lot of ground ball outs for Peralta. 9 of them, as a matter of fact. But faced with an inning where you're just trying to minimize damage. Peralta has great stuff, but he's not a big strikeout pitcher typically. Beltre, one of the toughest to strike out in the American League.
Well, the Brewers have the infield back. They'll give up 1 run, but they don't want to expose themselves to the flare and have 2 runs cross home plate.
Peralta down in the count, 2-0 to Beltre. And he shoots it foul. Well placed fastball that time. Not much Beltre could do with that, and it's 2-1.
Still good velocity at 95 for Willie. He's only got 82 pitches. He should be feeling good still.
Maldonado sets up inside, and a bouncer over to third. And it's misplayed by Ramirez. Play at third base, and nobody there for him. Segura was trying to get there as fast as he could. Ramirez didn't take the chance. That's going to work for a run for Texas on a little dribbler over to third base.
You can see Ramirez playing behind the bag and just trying to get the best hop that he could. Like Ramy kind of gave up on the play a little bit. Boy, Segura just Johnny on the spot, isn't he? Always seems to be in the right spot. It's going to be an error on Aramis Ramirez, allowing the run to score.
And it's 5-2 Milwaukee, and now the Rangers will bring the tying run to the plate. And a power hitter in Nelson Cruz. Hey, looking at that replay, Segura was there. Maybe Ramirez just didn't want to try to hit the moving target, but he was right there.
Yes, he was.
Brewers need a ground ball in a bad way here. First and third, 1 out. And a big swing and a miss on an off-speed pitch.
Man, this is the guy that you can strike out. He's punched out 28 times this year. Change up from Willie Peralta and had Nelson Cruz way out in front.
Well, a touchy moment here for the Brewers. Scoring 5 runs in the first. Rangers got 1 of those back in the second. Runners in here on a Ramirez error. Andrews over at third. You've got Beltre at first. And Cruz lines one to right. Aoki is there, but this is deep enough to score the run. And it's now 5-3. Out number 2 for Peralta on a sac fly and an RBI from Cruz. Tom Gorzolani getting loose. Got a couple of left-handers coming up.
Man, 3 of the next 4 hitters are left-handed.
And Renick's going to let it ride with Peralta on Mitch Moreland. Moreland homered back in the second inning. Opposite field home run. Last time up, Moreland bounced out to the shortstop Segura. He hit it right on the nose. You can see where the Brewers are playing Moreland. They have him shifted around the pole. And Segura, who's near the bag, was in perfect position to make the play. Foul down the left field line. Well, an error by Ramirez on the Beltre ground ball. Beltre gets credit for an RBI. And then Cruz with a sac fly and an RBI. 2 outs, 5-3 Brewers. Playing the 6th.
Not that it matters at this point, but that last run that scored unearned. So for all intents and purposes, Willie Peralta should be out of the inning.
And Peralta and Maldonado not agreeing on the next pitch. Now they've got the one they want. And the 2-1. Moreland high and tight. Throw to first. Oh, and Betancourt had him. The ball popped out of his glove. And Beltre is safe.
Hey, how about that throw from Maldonado? That was a designed pitch. Up and in. Throw behind the runner. And if Betancourt keeps the ball in his glove, he's out. What a throw by Martin Maldonado. Never had it. He would have been out.
Uni went for the tag before he had it in his glove. Well, now it's 3-1 on Moreland. Got to be careful with this one. And Moreland lines one to left, a base hit. Brewers go from an eyelash of getting out of this inning. And now it continues with 2 on. Now the tying run is aboard for Texas, and Giovanni Soto coming up.
They figure this is going to be Peralta's last hitter. Due up second in the bottom of this inning, and a couple of left-handers coming up, and Gorzolani ready.
2 on, 2 away. Soto doubled to right center his last time up. He's 1 for 2. Well, when this guy came to the big leagues, he looked like he was going to be a star in the major leagues. He was the Rookie of the Year back in 2008. And now the backup to A.J. Pierzynski, traded from the Cubs to the Rangers last season. And Peralta barking at himself. And he's behind 2-0. He's been behind the 3 of the last 4 hitters.
He's starting to show signs of fatigue, but not with velocity, just location. That last pitch at 96, pitch number 94.
Ooh, Soto had a good cut. 2-1 the count. Soto, the year he won the Rookie of the Year, he was also an All-Star that season. Things went south quickly in Chicago once Dale Swaim arrived. And the fact that the Cubs had Wellington Castillo, talented young catcher coming up, playing time was going to be limited, so they took the chance and traded him away.
He's never had the offense that he showed his rookie season.
He's in a hitter's count. The 3-1 in the air. And this will get Peralta out of the inning. Coming in Gomez. He's got it. The Rangers score twice, but Peralta escapes. 5-3 Brewers. Interleague baseball. Well, today's All-Star voting is brought to you by Feldco, and we certainly are encouraging you to go online and vote for your favorite Brewers and talk about a couple of guys that deserve the chance. Braun will be a front runner in left field, but Gene Segura and Carlos Gomez having all-star seasons a little over a month into it. And if you had to vote right now, you would hope that these two guys would have a chance to play their way to Citi Field in New York at the All-Star game. New pitcher Rockies, Robbie Ross, left-hander out of the bullpen for Justin Grimm.
Yeah, one of 3 left-handers in that Texas bullpen. He's only given up 1 run in 13 appearances so far this year. He's done particularly well coming in the middle of an inning. He's stranded all 14 inherited base runners this year.
He's facing Martin Maldonado to start it. Ross is a guy that can give Ron Washington multiple innings as well. Had a season high 2 1/3 pitched just a few weeks ago against the Angels. Went 2 1/3 scoreless in that outing. And what's interesting is he has 6 career outings of more than 2 1/3 innings, and he's allowed just 1 run over that stretch. A lot of relievers, you start getting into that 2nd and 3rd inning, especially that 3rd inning, and that's when you start to see some damage being done. But Ross has been very effective bridging the gap after a short start, which is what the Rangers got tonight from Justin Grimm. Although I'm sure they were ecstatic to get 5 innings out of Grimm after a 5-run first.
Yeah, they were thinking that was going to be a pitching disaster tonight, but he was able to right himself, and impressive work by the rookie.
Well, the Brewers are in a pretty rough stretch right now, pitching wise, as you see Jeff Bianchi ready to hit next in Peralta's spot. And it looks like Gorzolani will have the next inning as Maldonado swings and misses. Ross strikes him out with a 92-mile-an-hour fastball.
Hey, come out to Miller Park for the Milwaukee Brewers Spring Madness against the Dodgers, May 20th through the 22nd. Save 50% on select seats. Hot dogs and small sodas are just $1 each. For tickets, visit brewers.com/madness.
Well, Jeff Bianchi pulled back, and it's going to be Alex Gonzalez to pinch hit for Willie Peralta. Closed the book on Peralta with 6 innings, 5 hits. He gives up 3 runs, but only 2 were earned. And a very good start for Peralta tonight, and a good bounce back for him after he suffered the loss against St. Louis. Into shallow right. Cruz got a late start and has to make a sliding catch. 1 pitch for Gonzalez, and he's retired.
Nothing to it, right? He's just having a nice laugh at himself out there in right field. Got a late break, but able to make the catch. That's all that counts.
All depends on where the edit point is.
At what point does panic start setting in? I think it was early on that play.
I mean, if you pick it up from there, that's, hey, great catch.
Right.
It's got a chance to put him on the highlight reels tonight. But if you start it from the beginning, you realize that wasn't such a great jump. I always love watching Mike Cameron play center field. He never would end up in the highlight reels because he did all of his work when the ball left the bat, and he made it look easy at the end.
Yeah.
Nori Aoki got a tough matchup here against Robbie Ross, and he's quickly down, no balls and 2 strikes. Aoki, one of the few guys who will choke up on the bat. Don't see that very much as he slashes one into the seats. Well, I hope everyone's all right in there. That one caught the fan up there, and man, that is a tough one.
Yeah, got him in the shoulder. There could have been a lot worse places to get hit by that bullet coming back. There he is. He says he's all right. Won't feel too good tomorrow.
Bouncer off the glove of Ross, recovers and throws Aoki out. And a scoreless inning for the left-hander Ross. 5-3, the Brewers lead it. Peralta is out, and we're headed to the 7th inning. And Peralta made it hold up for his 6 innings. Willie tonight in our shining moment of the game, brought to you by Marshfield Clinic. Peralta with just a couple of Ks, but Rocky's able to go through 6 innings And he allowed the 3 runs, 2 of them earned. His defense committing an error in that 2-run Rangers 6th.
Well, the one thing he was able to do tonight, I mean, get ahead in the count. He got a lot of ground ball outs, 9 of them all together, and this looked like he ran out of gas just a little bit. Not so much velocity, but location. Got behind some hitters in that 6th inning. It looked as though he was able to stay on top today and got some good depth, got some good tilt with that 96-mile-an-hour sinker tonight. As Tom Gorzelani takes over for Milwaukee, the first 2 hitters for the Rangers left-handed. 18th appearance for Gorzelani, a .245 earned run average. He and Michael Gonzalez have been throwing the baseball pretty well lately.
And you figure Gonzalez is going to be standing by for the left-handed hitting Mitch Moreland. Now Renicky would probably like to have Gorzelani in the 8th inning as a setup man, but because of where the left-handers fall in this lineup, he goes to him in the 7th inning. He was up last inning. David Murphy will lead off for Texas.
Interesting the way Ron Washington had his lineup set before Pierzynski was scratched from the lineup. His first 4 hitters were right-handed, and the next 4 hitters were left-handed in the lineup. You don't see many managers set it up that way.
Murphy in the air to short. Segura will make the catch for out number 1.
Hey, when the Brewers win, you win. For every win this month, we'll knock off $1 on the price of a Terrace box ticket for the June 3rd through 5th series against the Oakland A's. The more games the Brewers win, the more you save. Visit Brewers.com/win-win for details.
Sunglasses at night. Kind of reminds you of Corey Hart, doesn't it? Washington's going to make a move here. Instead of the left-handed hitting Martin, Craig Gentry will bat against Gorzelani. Texas has had their leadoff batter on once tonight, and that runner scored. Well, that batter scored, Jeff Baker, last inning. Otherwise, the Brewers have done a good job with retiring that first batter. And only once tonight have the Rangers had 2 men on base at the same time. That was last inning as well. Peralta able to minimize the damage. (3-0) to Gentry. Rangers with 20 wins already. They are 8 games over 500. 20-12. Lost in Chicago last night, just a 1-game makeup at Wrigley Field. And Gorzelani walks him on 4 straight. And that's going to allow Washington to go back to his bench, and a guy who has been his primary DH, Lance Berkman, in this 3-game window here with the Cubs and the Brewers without much playing time.
Hey, Ron Washington pouring through his bench. You know, you assume that A.J. Pierzynski is not available because he was scratched. He had an oblique strain. And right now you got Lurie Garcia, the only guy available on the bench.
And we're only in the 7th inning.
Right.
I think the biggest challenge, we were talking about the American League and National League, as you see Badenhop getting loose. I'd say the biggest challenge is for the manager who comes into a National League setting. And you don't pinch hit much in the American League. You don't need to. All of your guys in the lineup can hit. Now the Rangers will do a little mix and matching at the bottom of their order with Martin and Gentry, but you're talking about 1, maybe 2 moves a night. Position players
pulling pitchers and double switches and things that American League umpires don't have, or managers don't have to deal with. And consider Ron Washington has spent just about his entire career, player and coach and manager in the American League.
Now Bergman is going to pinch hit. He is a much better left-handed hitter. He has been throughout his career. But he's still a threat right-handed. Well, if you want to play armchair manager, you might wonder, and I'm sure Ron Washington will be asked this question after the game, but Robbie Ross is a guy that has pitched multiple innings before. He could have double switched. But instead, Ross goes just the 1 inning, a 3 up, 3 down, 6, and it was a quick one, too. And so with one bench player available, if you figure that Brzezinski will not play with an oblique injury. Frazier in the bullpen. Coming over from the Blue Jays to the Rangers. 1 out, 2-1. Gorzalani against Lance Berkman.
Well, Berkman, a much better hitter from the left side of the plate throughout his career.
3 for 10 lifetime against Gorzalani. And there's a strike on the outside corner. A good one. Berkman out to a good start. He's hitting .303 this season. His first pinch hit appearance. And a bouncing ball. Chance for 2. Gorzalani's throw is there. The relay is low, but Unibeed digs it out. And a 1-4-3 double play. And the Brew Crew out of the inning. It wasn't pretty, but it was effective. And it's still 5-3 Milwaukee.
Rangers 5-3, and the Brewers playing their first interleague series of the season here at Miller Park, and Brewers fans will have the opportunity to come see 4 different interleague series here at Miller Park throughout the season. Tonight on our AT&T Twitter poll, we were asking Brewers fans, which interleague team are you most excited to see? 14% said the Rangers, 18% the Twins, 25% said the Oakland A's, and 43% the Anaheim Angels. I think a pretty strong outfield. Trout, Pujols coming back. So Brewers fans very excited for that series. That will be August 30th through September 1st, BA.
All right. Thanks a lot, Sophia. And the former Ranger, Josh Hamilton, part of that vaunted outfield with the Angels, but they are struggling big time, the Angels. Speaking of center field, Craig Gentry will stay in the game to play center. Pinch hitting for Martin last inning. And the new pitcher rock is Jason Frazier.
Yeah, good numbers once again, just like Ross. I mean, this Texas bullpen has been very good. They're 6-1 this year with a .291 earned run average. Frazier in his 12th game, and he's given up only 2 runs.
Gene Segura will lead off. Brewers getting into the heart of their order, up 5-3, scoring all 5 of those runs in the first inning. Segura, Braun, and Ramirez coming up. Segura tonight with 2 hits. He singled and scored in the first. Hit a double down the left field line back in the 4th inning. And able to lay off a tough pitch. 2 balls and a strike. That's the pitch that has been impressive for Segura to lay off. You know, a young hitter, you see a lot of young hitters chase that pitch. And slider down at the bottom of the zone. Not Segura. Now he'll chase the high fastball every now and then.
He's been patient at the plate for the most part. I mean, young hitters ordinarily are going to be aggressive early in the count. If he gets a pitch he likes, that breaking pitch up in his zone is one that he seems to like, at least in the early going this year.
2-2, and Segura called out on strikes. He zipped a fastball on the outside corner to punch him out. Perfect pitch. Well, our look at Ryan Braun, courtesy of Lowe's, an interleague baseball. He extended a hitting streak to 29 consecutive games with that double in the RBI in the first inning. So these are his numbers now, Rock. A .396 average, 31 RBIs, and an OPS.
Do we know who's first?
Over 1,000.
Who's first? 396. That's pretty good. That's a big sample size as well.
Here's a name for you. Nick Markakis of the Orioles is hitting .425 in interleague play. Sample size not quite as large as Braun's. Braun's going back to 07. He'd love to add another one to it. Braun has been aboard all 3 times tonight. Doubled and drove in a run and scored a run in the first. He walked by his own accounts in the third, and then he was intentionally walked in the fourth. Braun's hit in the first, just a single. I beg your pardon.
Should have been a double.
I think I said a double.
It was off the wall. Normally a double.
Got caught up into some base running problems ahead of him with Segura and Aoki. 2-1 pitch and a swing and a miss. 2-2.
Good slider from Frazier, who spent just about his entire career with the Blue Jays, all out of the bullpen. I mean, this guy's got some good stuff. Look at this pitch, a split-fingered fastball, a slider, and a fastball at about 92.
Braun into right. Cruz makes the play. 2 gone in the inning. Remember, we were talking about Matt Harvey the other day of the New York Mets. Talented young budding ace. He pitched against the White Sox tonight. 9 innings, 1 hit, 12 strikeouts. Exited with a no decision. Harvey had a perfect game going through 6 innings tonight.
That's against the White Sox.
Right. Now the Mets in interleague play with Chicago. Game ended in 10 innings. Mets won it 1-0. Harvey had no decision after striking out 12. What a matchup they had there. Was Chris Sale against Matt Harvey. 6 2/3 perfect innings, and at one point he was pitching with a bloody nose tonight, which doesn't sound that bad, but it looks awesome.
Bloody nose, huh?
He pitched with a bloody nose. Check out this picture. I don't have it for you to show on the air, but I can show my partner here.
They don't have a cut man in New York?
I don't think so. Well, I'm sure there's one in New York, just maybe not necessarily at Citi Field.
Right.
Probably plenty in New York. 3 balls and a strike on Ramirez. Brewers trying to get off this slide here. They've lost 5 in a row. Brewers have allowed at least 6 runs to the opponent in the last 6 consecutive games. That is not a good trend, losing 5 of those. They've also allowed at least 10 hits in the last 4 games. Pitching has been at the heart of the problems as Ramirez sends one deep to left. Back is Murphy at the wall. He reaches up, and there it goes. Aramis Ramirez with home run number 1. And a big run for the Brewers. Makes it 6-3. As Ramirez, after missing a month, delivers his first home run of the season.
Now Brewers back on the board after The Rangers had scored 3 consecutive. 3 unanswered. There's a splitter on a 3-1 count. Left it up and in, and Ramirez did the rest. Knocked it out of here. Well, that run by the Brewers is our Badger Mutual Insurance run of the game. A Aramis Ramirez solo shot with 2 outs.
Into somebody's chili in the Friday's Front Row Grill. An unexpected condiment. 6-3 Milwaukee. And here is Ricky Weeks, and a strike on the outside corner. Ricky Weeks at the plate, presented by Wendy's. See what he's done tonight. Had a walk in the 3rd inning. He singled sharply back up the middle in the 5th. The Brewers have now hit 37 home runs this season. And they lead the league in stolen bases as well. They have had a runner caught stealing tonight. But 37 homers, 27 stolen bases. Ron Renick's club last year led the league in homers and steals. And they're on that pace once again.
Came into play 4th in the National League in homers. 2 tonight.
Atlanta Braves lead the league in home runs, being led by Justin Upton, who has 12. I think the Braves have hit 40, maybe 42 now.
44 home runs coming into play.
Coming into play tonight.
That's a lot.
And let's see, they were playing the Reds today, and just got Brian McCann back. No homers tonight against Cincinnati. That game's tied in the 9th. As Weeks strikes out, and the inning is over. But Aramis Ramirez, for the first time this year, sends one out. It's a big one. The Brewers up 6-3 on the Rangers. Reminding you to please play responsibly. And by Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. Roof is open. It has cooled off here tonight. The Brewers trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. They lead 6-3. And Aramis Ramirez just giving the Brewers that 3-run lead, and he is immediately taken out for his efforts. Jeff Bianchi will take over at 3rd base. And the Brewers have a new pitcher on the mound for the 8th. Brandon Kinsler will get his chance in a setup role.
Ron Renick really not settled on who he wants to set up for Jim Henderson. John Axler's been getting hit again, and oh no, Kinsler's going to get an opportunity. It's his 14th appearance. He's 2-0 and a .554 earned run average. You can see the walks to strikeouts pretty good. 3 walks, 14 punch outs. He's got the top of the order to deal with.
And that'll be Ian Kinsler. No relation, different spelling. And uncharted territory here for Brandon Kinsler, working the 8th. Got a 3-run lead. Hard throwing right-hander. Kinsler has shown signs of being the kind of pitcher to develop as a late inning reliever with a good fastball in the mid-90s. And he has a sharp breaking slider as well. He's tough on right-handed hitters. Renick had to use Gorzolani in the 7th inning with the left-handers coming up. That forced a couple of changes for Ron Washington. So kind of flip-flopping the roles. The 2-1. Little bouncer out to Weeks. And 1 away. First man retired as we kick it down to Telly Hughes. What's going on down in the minor leagues for the Brewers, Telly?
Well, BA, our minor league report features Brevard County's Drew Gagnon. He was named the FSL Pitcher of the Week on May 1st at Bradenton. He pitched a perfect 7 innings, had 10 strikeouts. He's 3-2 on the season so far, and it seems like the good pitching keeps coming through the pipelines in the Brewers minor league system.
All right, Telly, thanks a lot, and good for Drew. On in the high-level A-ball in the Florida State League in Brevard County. Now you start to make some noise in Brevard County, and that kind of puts you on the radar.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
Get up to Double-A, then you never know. You're one injury away from the big leagues these days. Sometimes you skip Triple-A altogether.
That's what Gene Segura did last year. Went straight from Double-A Huntsville to Big League Milwaukee. Doesn't look like he's going to return anytime soon. 2 balls and a strike on Elvis Andrus.
Kind of like that music that they were playing over.
Yeah, little Dean Roscoe organ.
The minor league report.
Yeah, he laid that down for us a couple of weeks ago. It's
catchy tune.
And Andrus lines one to right, a base hit. This is a tough offense to keep down, and Elvis with 2 hits tonight. Derek Holland tomorrow. Kyle Loesch will go for the Brewers. Our Miller Lite, what's on tap. Holland's off to a great start. A 2.74 earned run average, part of the top-notch Rangers pitching staff. Kyle Loesch coming off a rough one against the St. Louis Cardinals, his old team, hoping for a bounce back.
Yeah. 4 runs in 5 innings against St. Louis. And Holland just, the numbers for this pitching staff for the Texas Rangers, I mean, one after the other, very good. Whether they're starters or relievers, Holland with an ERA in the mid-2s.
Now Beltre up there again with a runner at first. That home run is looming large by Ramirez. Just that extra insurance. And you need all you can get with a team like the Rangers. The Brewers scored 5 in the first. Did not score again until Ramirez's home run with 2 outs last inning. Kensler trying to get this one to the bottom of the 8th.
Yeah, how often are you going to hit a home run on a 3-1 pitch that's a split-fingered fastball? I mean, that's a dead look fastball count, but Ramirez able to react to a pitch up in his zone and knock it out of here. Good hitting.
Beltre, bouncer to third, but Yankee going to second and gets the out. Man, oh man, what a play.
No, that's why you make the defensive change. The mobility for Aramis Ramirez is not all that great right now. And well, you want to test a knee that's been injured. A play like this, I don't think Aramis makes. Look how quickly he stops and gets that throw off to second base and just barely getting Elvis Andrus. That is a terrific play. Not just to get the hop on the backhand, but that throw right on the money.
Well, the Yankees started the season on the DL with a hip injury, just coming back last week. And he is another guy that is a shortstop by trade, like Betancourt, like Gonzalez. Comes in defensively for Ramirez and makes a fine play for the second out. We've seen some terrific defense tonight.
Yeah, Brewers have 3 shortstops on the infield right now.
Yeah, before the Brewers traded Zach Greinke to the Angels and got Segura in return, Bianchi was the guy who was next in line. I mean, he was going to get a chance to play short, and the Brewers were very comfortable with that. But that trade, acquiring Segura, changed all that for Bianchi. Cruz in the air to left center field. Braun is there, and Brandon Kinsler works a scoreless 8. There you go, Rock. Dean Roscoe taking us out to the bottom of the 8th, playing the organ.
Nothing like it.
Bottom of the 8th. Davey, Craig, and I getting set for Brewers Live postgame on the way. And guys, this has been a good all-around game overall. Davey starting with Willie Peralta on the hill, and Craig getting those early runs that so far have posted him to a potential victory.
Well, that's one of the things, pitching controls the tempo of the ball game, and I thought that Willie Peralta controlled the tempo of the Rangers early in the ball game.
And I like the offense getting runs right away. I think that took some pressure off Willie, allowed him to attack the zone. No walks tonight. He did a great job.
All right, we're going to break it down. Brewers Live postgame on the way, plus our instructional. We'll get inside the clubhouse, hear from the Brewer players as well. Not quite done yet, guys, but Brewers looking pretty good tonight.
Now we head to the bottom of the 8th. Thanks, Craigs and Davey. And here is Joseph Ortiz, the stout left-hander for the Rangers, on the pitch.
Yeah, Ortiz made his major league debut this year. Guy that throws a lot of strikes. Has a pretty good arm. 90 miles an hour for Ortiz, who's what, 5'6"?
Yeah, 5'6", 200 pounds.
Yeah.
Fire hydrant. Fly ball to right by Gomez, and Cruz is there for the out, one away. Hey, a reminder that this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Brewers and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of the Milwaukee Brewers. I thought Craig Counsell was our designated copyright reader.
What happened? I thought, didn't he have it on tape?
I think he could do it live once again. Might be something that he's going to have to come back for. He did such a fine job with it.
I wonder what Craig has in mind for our instructional tonight.
Now I noticed that today when I was out here early, you came and did some early taping of instructionals with Johnny Nair, some hitting instructions.
Yeah, great stuff. I can't wait to see those, because Johnny Nairn was outstanding, as you would anticipate he would be. I mean, hitting coach, he does, you know, private clinics back at home, and in the off season Logan Schaefer helped out, and that was a lot of fun.
I was kind of keeping to myself off in the distance, so I didn't want to distract you guys today.
Oh, you were there?
I did notice you guys were out early today.
Oh, okay.
Which is good to see you at the ballpark.
You really did a nice job of hiding yourself.
I didn't want to make it nervous.
Didn't want to steal the thunder.
Right.
It's a 3-part series on hitting drills in a cage.
I love it.
The batting cage with Johnny Nairn.
What's the turnaround time on something like that, Rock?
As far as editing goes, it's not 9 innings, that's for sure.
You didn't have too many pickups, did you?
Oh, I picked up the balls, yeah. They did all the work. I picked up the baseballs.
Full count to Betancourt here with 1 away. 8th inning. 6-3 Brewers. Johnny Nair and his brother Jerry, they have a long history with the Rangers as well, especially Jerry. Johnny was part of the Rangers staff. He was with Texas and was hired to help Josh Hamilton. He was also the assistant hitting coach there with the Rangers, so he knows the Rangers system very well. And of course, Johnny's brother Jerry was longtime coach in Texas in the Johnny Oates years, as Betancourt flies out for the second out. Jerry back behind Renicky. Here's our Subway in-game box score so far. Brewers getting multiple hits from Aoki and Segura. Ryan Braun extended his interleague hitting streak to 29 games with a single and an RBI in the first inning. Brewers scored 5 runs in the first. Gomez and Betancourt with 2 RBIs. Betancourt hit the 2-run home run. And then Aramis Ramirez homered in the 7th. Maldonado is hitless. He's 0 for 3. Joseph Ortiz. This is down and in. 2 balls and a strike. Ortiz pitched last night against the Cubs. And a bouncer toward third. The Gold Glover Beltre bobbles, but he has time. And he makes a play for the out. 1, 2, 3, 8. We're headed to the 9th. Last call for the Rangers. Brewers trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. Interleague baseball from Miller Park, Milwaukee, the Brewers and the Texas Rangers. And we're headed to the 9th inning. 6-3 Milwaukee. Brewers trying to hang on and snap a 5-game losing streak. Our game summary brought to you by Toyota. Peralta is in line for the win. Betancourt has hit his club leading 8th home run of the season. Ramos Ramirez a homer as well. Gomez with a couple of RBIs. So Renicky will give the ball to Jim Henderson. And our Columbia St. Mary's save tracker, that number is now at 6 for Henderson, who is classified as a rookie still despite his 30 years of age.
And Henderson has been very good. The fastball in the upper 90s with the slider, and looking for save number 7. And Brewers need to end this 5-game losing streak, and a golden opportunity. 6 for 6 in saves. And a 138 earned run average for Jim Henderson.
Henderson took his first loss of the season on Saturday against St. Louis. And a 2-1 record. He will have Mitch Moreland leading off, and a strike. Zips one in at 94 to get ahead in the count. Moreland's had a good night. 2 for 3. He's homered. Had an opposite field single in the 6th inning.
Yeah, you got to be careful out away from Moreland. He's hit everything to left field tonight.
Moreland, even the at-bat in the 5th when the Brewers retired him, that was a sharply hit ball to the shortstop Segura. He's had 3 real good at-bats tonight, and you'd much rather have him hit with nobody on base. In the air, center field. Gomez has his hand up, and Henderson has his first man retired. There had been a whole lot of strikeouts for the Brewer pitchers tonight. The head and shoulders whiff. Peralta with 2 in this game.
And that's the only 2 for the Brewer pitching staff tonight. But he did get an awful lot of ground ball outs. That's the key. You don't need to be striking batters out. I think Rick Kranitz would be very happy with the 9 ground balls.
Now don't forget, every time you see a strikeout, or heck, even every time you think about a strikeout, just go to the Brewers Twitter handle @Brewers and use the hashtag whiff. It can all go to a reward money for the RBI program here in Milwaukee, courtesy of Head and Shoulders. Great program they're doing each month. In the air to center field. Gomez on the run. He turns and is right there. Soto retired. 2 outs for Jim Henderson. And the Rangers' last hope is David Murphy. Coming off a bout of the flu, and he is 0 for 3 tonight. Brewers trying to improve to 15 and 16, get themselves a game back of 500 after weathering the storm of a 5-game losing streak. This homestand began with 2 straight wins, and then 5 in a row on the loss column with 2 to play. Tough road trip coming up for Milwaukee as well. Got to go to Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and St. Louis. Henderson tried to make it a perfect 7 for 7 in save opportunities. Murphy in the air to left, and that is going to get down, a base hit, and that's going to go to the wall. Murphy with a double, a 2-out double to keep this game alive for Texas.
It just continues to pour the strikes in for Jim Henderson. There's a four-seam fastball out away from Daniel Murphy, and he just drives it into the gap out there in left center. Last thing you want to do is start walking batters, so Henderson primarily going with the fastball. That may change now.
Two outs and a runner at second, and it's going to be Craig Gentry batting for the second time. He walked in a pinch hit appearance in the 7th. Strike one. Fastball at 95. Baseball is loose down the left field line. Nobody notices. Let's hope it doesn't have an effect on anything here. Strike two. A slider in there for a strike. A beauty.
Well, you knew that was coming. Tying run on deck. Henderson doesn't want to get any further than this guy.
Rangers down to their last strike. See what Henderson does with Gentry. The 0-2 pitch and a little half swing. Did he go? No, he didn't. Tim Timmons says Gentry was able to check his swing. Close, but a good call. Remember, that camera angle is from the dugout as well. So Gentry will see another pitch. Brewers lead by 3 in the 9th. Here comes a 1-2. And another slider. Gentry lays off. 2 balls, 2 strikes. On a night when the Cubs have beaten the Cardinals 2-1. Cincinnati came back and beat the Braves 5-4. Brewers trying to put one in the win column. Bouncing ball to Segura. And the throw is in time, and the ball game is over. The Brewers win. Willie Peralta picks up the victory for Milwaukee, his 3rd of the season. And Jim Henderson now 7 for 7 in save opportunities. And a nice win for the Brew Crew tonight, taking care of the first place Texas